During a segment on the EU divorce bill, a large number of the Scarborough audience on Thursday night's debate show appeared to have voted Remain in last year's EU referendum. Picking several people from the audience to give their views, they all revealed they voted to Remain, and the panel also had a heavy Remoaner bias, a ratio of 4-1. Realizing how unrepresentative the audience appeared to be, Mr Dimbleby shouted out, "There are a lot of Remainers here tonight," partway through guest Sarah Baxter's answer to a question. MAINIMAGE BBCThe Question Time host admitted yesterday that there was a bias in the audience's questions. And MAINIMAGE related articles outrage as BBC internship scheme only open to those who aren't white, UK becoming a giant safe space, warns BBC Question Time guest. Realizing he was admitting to the BBC's audience and panel were not being representative of the country, the TV show host tried to quickly move on from the topic.Scarborough, where the TV was filmed, voted overwhelmingly to leave the EU in the Brexit referendum. A massive 62% of the area's population voted to take back control, despite the apparent clear Remain support in the county being given airtime on the BBC Question and Answer show. One person in the audience said, "I wish we'd never had the flaming referendum," and said she believed we voted for Brexit due to a lack of information. The BBC has always claimed in the past that it picks its audience to be representative of the country. However, this is not the first time the show has faced accusations of bias. The BBC was also accused of bias after large segments of its special general election Question Time audience in June cheered as Labour won the Kensington seat. Twitter users slammed the broadcaster after the veteran host David Dimbleby joked about the crowd's impartiality. As Dimbleby announced the result of the historic Labour Party victory, the crowd launched itself into loud cheers and applause. He joked, "We have a balanced audience here, let's hear from those who think that's an error." The BBC were accused of a bias in their election coverage of the general election. As a small number applauded, the host added, "That's the spirit." In a statement, the corporation said, the BBC commissioned polling company Comrees to recruit an audience that is representative of the country demographically and politically. They have lots of experience doing this. This covered age, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic, party politics, how they voted in EU referendum, and some undecided. David Dimbleby has hosted debate shows for the BBC for years. The BBC has been attacked for its perceived anti-Brexit bias in its coverage of the EU withdrawal talks, with criticism that the broadcaster is scaremongering. Katja Adler, the BBC's Europe editor, has spoken out against these allegations and said the reason the BBC comes across as anti-Brexit is the fault of the EU officials. Speaking to BBC's Newswatch programme, which monitors complaints about the broadcaster, the BBC editor addressed claims of spreading doom and gloom. This comes after dozens of Brexit voters wrote into the BBC to complain about the balance of the coverage in recent weeks. Related articles. Question Time audience member hails no deal as what Brits voted for. Dimbleby blasts out of date Diane Abbott on BBC Question Time. Diane Abbott fails to reveal Labour spending in Question Time clash.